right. Hi, Stan. How are you doing today?
I'm alright.
All right. You want to tell me what you've been up to this past week?
I don't know. Not a whole lot. I've been going to NA because it's good for me.
Yeah.
I went to church. And I hung out with my partner.
Your partner? All right. How is he doing? I know you guys, last week you told me a little bit about some tension. Did anything happen?
Nothing like crazy happened. We're just not getting along right now. Like, he's super frustrated with me.
Yeah, you talked a lot about that last week. We can do a little recap. Just correct me if I'm wrong, but I have from last session, you talked about that you've been using meth for 8 years through injection, but you've been working on getting sober. You're sober for 3 months. Your treatment with me is mandated from your PO due to a recent DUI. Like you just mentioned, the behavioral changes you recognize as your anger towards your partner and infidelity. And then from our last session, we came to the conclusion that you want to stay sober. However, your cravings have increased, as well as your stress and anxiety due to the probation and potentially being sent back to jail. Is that accurate?
Yeah, I have to go do more treatment than I'm already doing as part of my probation, and I don't really want to. And so my partner's getting super frustrated with me because I'm like, I need to just bite the bullet and go do it, but I haven't taken those steps yet.
Yeah, I understand. It's very frustrating to have to go be forced to do something that you don't necessarily see that you need, especially when you're doing all these other things on your own. So to be forced to do something on top of that is a lot.
Yeah.
All right. So we did talk about last week about some of the reasons that have motivated you to get sober. And one of those was fixing that relationship with your partner and relieving that tension. We talked about staying out of prison and that you want to grow your support system and community. Is that also accurate, or would you like to add anything?
No, I think that's pretty accurate.
Okay. All right. Before we get ahead of ourselves, I do just want to do a little check-in for your safety. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Right? And then have you had any thoughts about hurting yourself since our last session?
No.
No? Okay. And then have you had any thoughts about hurting other people?
No.
No? And then are you concerned for your immediate safety in your household or anywhere else?
No.
No? Good. All right. So I do know last session we also discussed the effects of stress on our bodies and our minds. And I do notice coming in, your body language looks a little reserved today, not as much as last week. So remember how I taught you that box breathing technique last week?
Yeah.
Do you want to maybe try that together to relieve some stress or anxiety we may be feeling right now?
We can do that.
All right. Do you remember it?
Kind of, but can you refresh me?
Yes, I will do it with you. So we're going to imagine a box or a square, and then the first line, we're going to breathe in for 4 seconds. So breathe in, and then hold for 4 seconds. 2, 3, 4. And then exhale for 4 seconds. And then hold 4 more seconds. And then we'll do that 2 more times.
Okay.
And then I'll draw my little line to keep us in check on how long we're doing it. So breathe in. Hold. And then breathe out. And then hold. And then one more time. Breathe in. Hold. Breathe out. And then hold. All right. How do you feel after doing that?
I feel a little bit better.
Yeah? How do you feel somatically with your body? Does it feel a little less tense?
Yeah, I can tell my heart rate's a little bit lower. I'm not as quite as anxious.
I know, sometimes I get a little anxious talking too, but that also helps me feel a little bit better. All right, so we did talk a little bit about this past week, how it was going for you, and you mentioned something about your partner and some tension. Do you want to tell me a little bit more about what happened?
Yeah, he just really wants the best for me, and I sometimes like selfishly make bad choices and I don't prioritize him, and so he's getting frustrated that I'm not prioritizing like our relationship and his needs as well as mine. And so we just kind of like been at each other, and I'm noticing that I'm super irritable and like I have a short fuse with him, and then he's trying to be understanding, but then he's getting a short fuse, and so we're just kind of like going at it. And then whenever I get stressed, I have cravings, and then that makes it really hard because I'm like 3 months sober right now, but it's hard to maintain that whenever I'm stressed out. And like my partner is my only support system. So if we're fighting or we're not doing well, then I have like no one else to lean on to support me, like not using again. And so it's just really, really hard.
Yeah, I can see like on one hand you're doing your best to do what you need to do to stay sober. You're attending those NA meetings daily. That's a lot on you.
Yeah.
And on the other hand, you have your partner who is supportive, but it is also causing them a lot of strain.
Yeah.
So I can see how that's causing a lot of tension in that.
Yeah, it's hard. I also I don't know, I'm like not working right now. So I go to NA every day, and I go to church on the weekend, but I don't have a whole lot else going on. So that if we're like at each other's throats, like what do I do? Like I just don't have a lot of stuff going on. Like I have a lot of stuff going on, but at the same time I don't.
Yeah. So did something specifically happen during the week? Because it sounds like something did happen.
He's been encouraging me to sign up for the intensive outpatient treatment that I'm supposed to do for my probation, because you know, like all my issues I had with like drugs in the past and the DUIs and stuff, and like I think I had possession of meth. So he's been like, hey, you need to go and schedule this intensive outpatient program that's required for your probation, and I'm not ready to do that. And so I'm like, no, I don't want to. But then he's like, but you need to, you're going to prison. And I'm like, but I don't want to schedule it. So we're just fighting. And so I know like I might be being unreasonable, but I also don't like being told what to do.
Yeah, I can understand that. There's a lot on your plate right now, and you're doing what you need to do, and then having someone else harp on you about the other things you need to do can be a little excessive sometimes.
Yeah. And I'm already in treatment. Like I come and see you every week, and I go to NA, and like I don't want to do more treatment.
Yeah, no. And I want to encourage you that even coming here, that's doing a lot on your part.
Yeah.
So I am proud of you for that, and I'm glad you showed up today again. That shows a lot of perseverance on your end. So with these arguments that you had this week with your partner, did that trigger any specific feelings, or did you have cravings?
Yeah, I just get frustrated. When I get super frustrated, drugs are easy, and drugs are a coping mechanism. And I've used drugs for years, and now I'm trying to not. So my brain hasn't like figured it out yet. So like, I get upset, I want to use drugs, but then I'm trying to maintain sobriety, so then I can't use the drugs. So I'm craving the drug, and I'm trying to tell myself that I shouldn't be doing that, and I shouldn't want that, and it's like not good for me. But it's really hard to fight that, and so I almost relapsed this last weekend. I didn't, but I almost did, and so that's also really hard.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for sharing that with me. I do want to remind you that having those cravings are normal in the recovery process, so I don't want you to be discouraged by that. And I also want to commend you for recognizing that you were having those cravings and chose not to relapse. So that's a lot on your end as well. I do want to let you know that.
Thank you.
But can you tell me specifically about what was happening when you were having the cravings?
I think we had just gotten into a fight about me needing to schedule therapy or whatever, the intensive outpatient. And we just weren't seeing eye to eye, and he got really frustrated and he walked away, and I walked away, and like after that argument like that, I was like immediately wanting to go use drugs. Like I don't have any, so it wasn't like immediately available to me. But that fight triggered that, and so then I was like really craving an escape from the situation, so I can kind of put everything on the back burner and just kind of like do the drug and kind of like zone out.
Yeah. And just to clarify, was there anything specific, like a feeling or a thought or something that was said that you recognized triggered the thought of like, I want to take drugs to cope?
Yeah, because I think like in my past, that's what I've done. If I get upset, like, I definitely just, like, turned to drugs. And so I don't really have, like, another good way to cope yet. Like, because I'm still so freshly sober, I'm still trying to figure that out. And so he said something about me not prioritizing myself and our relationship and him, and why, like, I need to just schedule, like, sign myself up and enroll in that treatment. And whenever we, like, just weren't agreeing, then he left, and that's whenever I decided, like, I really want to use a drug right now. So I had, like, an intense craving for meth.
Yeah. And when he left the situation, were you having feelings of anxiety that he may leave you because of everything going on?
Yeah, we've like almost broken up a lot of times, and it's because of the things that I've done. So whenever he walks away, because he says I'm not prioritizing him, that definitely, like, triggers that in me of, like, well, if he leaves, then what do I have? Because he is my support system, so I might as well use the drug if I'm not going to have him.
I can see that. Does it also bring up a lot of, we talked about in our first session, about your family as well, that they had stopped speaking to you for certain things like your sexuality and the drugs as well. Do you feel like that adds that pressure as well?
Thinking about it now that you say it, probably, because I was my, like, true self with them, and then they were like, oh, don't want to be a part of that anymore, and cut me off. And so now my partner knows that I've struggled with drug addiction, and now he's like, oh, don't know if I want to deal with that anymore. So now it's like, it feels like it's almost repeating itself, and I don't have anyone else. Like, I already lost my family for coming out, and now, like, I have my partner, and, like, he's frustrated, so he might leave me, and, like, what do I have left?
Yeah.
So then there's no reason for me to do anything. Like, there's no reason for me to stay on the straight and narrow. Like, if I don't have anyone, I don't have a support, I can just use drugs and go back to what I used to do.
Yeah, it kind of seems like another, like, half and half of, like, well, you do continue to do your treatment and all these things, you get your partner in what you want, but it's a lot of difficulty on that end. But if you don't do all the things you need to do, you have the potential of losing that one person you truly do care about.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot. Well, thank you for sharing that with me. So we are glad that you didn't relapse, so that is good, and that's a huge step. So do you remember specifically when you chose not to relapse? Was there anything that you did that helped you to avoid giving into the cravings? Any coping skills?
No, I just went to an NA meeting. I hadn't gone yet that day, so I went to an NA meeting.
And how was that? Was it good?
Yeah, because, like, the people there, we're all going through similar things, we've gone through similar stuff, so it's nice to hear other people talk about, like, how they've overcome things, and there's people that have been sober for, like, 1, 5, 10 years, and so it gives me hope that I can do it, and I can maintain sobriety, and just, like, keep going in the right direction, and not give in to, like, what my brain wants.
Is there anyone at NA that you've met that potentially could be another support system for you?
I mean, I have a sponsor. Like, when I showed up, someone kind of, like, took me on as someone that I can, like, reach out to when I'm struggling. But I don't know, like, I feel bad bothering people with my problems, so I kind of just save that for, like, you or my partner. And I don't know. I just don't want to bother him.
Yeah. Well, tell me about your NA sponsor. What's his name? Or what do you know about him?
His name is Will. He has been sober, I think, like 5 years now. He used, like, a plethora of drugs, just like I did, but his drug of choice was cocaine. And he had, like, turmoil in his life, and, like, decided one day to make a change and come to NA and get clean. So he's cool. I don't know, I feel bad bothering people with my stuff. Like, I know that he's, like, my sponsor, but I don't know. I don't want to bother people.
Well, have you gone to Will before and spoken to him about something you've been struggling with, since he has been your sponsor for a while?
No, like, not specifically. Like, we share stuff in NA meeting, in like the group setting, but I haven't like specifically sought him out and been like, hey, Will, I have all this stuff going on right now.
Yeah, that can be a little scary to share something with someone else other than me or your partner.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what do you think might happen if you were to give him a call and tell him that you were struggling? What do you think he might say?
I don't know. He might just talk me through like what's going on, or just ask me like how I'm feeling. He's really nice, so he probably would be receptive, especially because he like sought me out and was like, "Oh, I'm your sponsor. I'm gonna help you with whatever." So I guess like it couldn't hurt to try it.
Yeah.
And then maybe if he like after that, then I could if it goes well, then I could reach out to him more often. So maybe my partner doesn't have to have like take on the whole load of all my stuff. Maybe I don't know.
Yeah, because I can remind me of your partner's name. I forgot.
His name is Abel.
Abel. So I can imagine for Abel too, it's a lot of stress on him as well. It's a great like gift to have that support from him, but I can imagine that's a lot on his plate as well to have all that stress. So maybe it is a good idea to have a different support system outside of that to share what you're going through with. But I'm impressed with how you handled your cravings. Each time you do avoid that, you are building that resilience. So super proud of you for that. But what do you think you learned from that experience specifically?
I think it showed me that I can overcome the craving. Like 3 months in, like every day gets a little bit easier. There's still hard days, but that was a really bad day and I was able to not use any drugs. So it shows me that like I have the ability to do this and to stay sober.
Yeah, and I mean, if you think about it, we've been together such a short time and you're making big strides. You've been sober for 3 months before you came to see me.
Mm-hmm.
And I've barely taught you anything with coping strategies, so I can imagine what we can get done in the rest of our sessions that we do have together. So I mean, that's something we can do. We can start to brainstorm some additional coping strategies that might be helpful the next time you're in a similar situation. Does that sound like something you want to do?
Yeah, we could do that, because I feel like I did a treatment program like forever, like years ago, and I feel like I might have learned good stuff. I can't remember any of it. Like I don't know anything I've learned. So I feel like working with you, I could definitely add stuff to the tool bag that might work better this time, because obviously the stuff I learned 5 years ago didn't stick because I'm only 3 months sober. So definitely have the opportunity to do things and make good progress.
Yeah, I get that. Honestly, when you're in those stressful situations as well, it's hard to remember like, oh crap, what am I supposed to do in this situation? Like, how can I calm myself down? Because there's so many different things you can do. But we did learn the box breathing technique last week, but and we did just speak a little bit about building our support systems. You did mention that you've been going to church on the weekends. Tell me about that.
Yeah, so my partner's Abel, he's religious, and so he encouraged me like to come with him to church and maybe find like a community of people. And I connected with the pastor at the church. He's really nice, really cool. Doesn't treat me any different, very like inclusive, because like, you know, most churches are not super LGBTQ like IA supportive, and he is like, he doesn't treat me any differently just because we're like in a same-sex relationship. So I liked that, and he's trying to get me out to like go do stuff. I just have like a hard time. Like he was like, oh, you should like come help us out with like our unhoused population like outreach program, like where you can go out and like provide food and clothing and resources and all these things, and that would like maybe give me like some purpose. So I've been like debating doing that, but I haven't been going to church very long, so I don't know.
How are the actual church services like on the Sundays? Do you enjoy those?
Yeah, I'm still like trying to buy into it, but I'm definitely open. And it also like helps in my relationship because my
Yeah.
like Abel's religious and Abel enjoys church, and so it's time that I can spend with him at church. And so maybe doing it for him, like also for me, but like showing up for him and what he likes to do, or like some of the things that he enjoys, definitely makes it easier for me to like buy into it.
Yeah, and that's great that you can recognize that sometimes you have to meet in the middle with your partner to do things that they like as well. So you don't have to completely buy in just because he does it, but even just showing up for him in those small ways will remind him that you are doing your part as well.
Yeah.
But what about any other programs that they talked about? Was there anything else you were interested in doing community-wise in the church other than the outreach program?
No, I think it right now is just, I think they called it like the homeless outreach something or other. I can't remember what it's called. But no, I think that was the only one. I think that was the only one they mentioned so far. And I mean, I'm going from doing nothing except like NA right now, so maybe it would be good for me to do that because it would like fill more of my time up so that I'm not thinking about doing drugs.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember anything else.
Yeah, that might be good to talk more about your pastor with. Is he's someone that you have like a contact with, like you have his phone number, or you just see him on Sundays?
No, I have his phone number. Like he gives it to everyone and lets us all know that we can reach out if we ever need anything. But then it's like the same thing with like my NA sponsor. Like I like him, I enjoy like what he has to offer, but just like bothering people. So I don't know. He's supportive though. He's helpful.
Yeah. Well, I think if he's expressed willingness to be a support system in something, because did you tell him specifically about everything you're struggling with, or did you only tell him certain things? What did you share?
I think I just shared that like I'm in recovery right now. Like I'm practicing like my sobriety and I'm like working towards it. I don't think I've shared with him like my struggles with Abel, but I know sometimes pastors do like couples counseling, so I don't know. Maybe I can see if we can like have a talk with him together or something. I don't know.
Yeah, you actually read my mind. I was gonna say like maybe you could talk to him about doing the couples counseling. That might be something that's helpful because we only do individual sessions, so that would be a conflict of interest on my end to be working with Abel, but maybe that's something you could look into.
Yeah, I can look into that. I know sometimes like churches offer classes and stuff too, so maybe we can sign up for like a class on like communication or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I know sometimes they do Bible studies or they'll do mission trips, so I'm sure they have plenty of opportunities. You just gotta talk to him, and I'm sure he could find something that might be good for you. So also we could talk about, I know you did mention you really do like reading. Is that something you do a lot in your free time to like as a hobby?
I used to love reading like before I got into drugs. I just haven't done it a lot recently. Like I loved it growing up. I like enjoy books. They're like an escape. So I don't know, I just kind of stopped like doing that whenever I started doing drugs. It's really hard to concentrate whenever you're not sober, so
Yeah.
couldn't pay attention to a book long enough.
Yeah. What kind of books did you like?
I really like thrillers, like psychological thrillers. Those are crazy. So maybe, I don't know. I'm trying to think what other books I liked reading. I mostly just like thrillers. I like mysteries, like things that you never know what's gonna happen, and so I like enjoyed reading that stuff and like trying to guess on like what the ending was gonna be growing up. But I just haven't been doing it recently.
Yeah, I'm more of a movie gal, but I have read a few thriller books and they do keep me on the edge of my seat. Yeah. All right. Let's talk a little bit about the IOP program, because you did talk about that was causing a lot of tension the past week with your partner. Has there been any movement on your end of like calling? Because I do know that was something that was a non-negotiable with probation that you need to do.
Yeah. I haven't done anything because I don't have a suspense date, and so I'm just kind of like whatever, I'll get to it eventually because I don't want to. So I haven't even looked. I haven't looked at programs. I just know I have to go to one, but I don't know like all the specific information of like, I guess, I don't know, when do I need to enroll by, or I don't know any of that stuff.
Yeah. Did probation give you a specific date you need to get it done by?
If they did, I don't remember what it was. I was not probably paying very much attention because I don't want to go. So I was kind of just like, whatever, and just wasn't listening.
Is there something specifically about the program that makes you not want to go other than just another commitment?
I don't know a whole lot about it. Like, I've done residential programs where I like lived somewhere and like had to stay there and like get sober and do groups and whatever. But this one's intensive outpatient, and so I don't know what intensive outpatient means.
Yeah, so intensive outpatient is going to mean, depending on what program you're in, you're going to be required to be there a specific set of hours during the week. I know some patients that I've had, they go to them 5 days a week for about 4 hours because they are intensive. It does have the word intensive in there.
Yeah.
So I do want to make that clear with you that it is going to be a time commitment. But outpatient refers to you're not mandated to be there all day, every day for a set amount of time.
Okay.
So it is a commitment to go and do what you need to do, but you also have the privilege of being able to leave after.
Okay. I guess that clears it up a little bit. I just like, I don't want to live somewhere again and have to like do group all day and therapy and then like I sleep there and I can never escape anyone. Like, I'm not a super social person, and that was so draining, having to like wake up and go to group and sit in therapy and then eat dinner with everyone and then sleep. Like, we're all sleeping in like shared rooms and all this stuff, and it was just like a lot. And so I think that while it was helpful for me for a period of time, like I just didn't want to do that again, and so I wasn't sure what the difference was between that and like IOP. But if I can leave IOP, then maybe it's not as daunting to have to sign up for.
Yeah, well, I'm glad that cleared up a little bit of intimidation that you may have had with it. But I mean, overall, recovery has a lot of challenges that comes with it. And the determination that you've shown in this short period of time and the past 3 months have shown how much potential you do have. But you do have my full support going forward, and I do encourage you to reach out to those extra support systems that you have. Like your NA sponsor, Will, correct? I am so bad with names, but
Yes.
Will, you do have Abel, and do you know your pastor's name? I didn't even ask his name.
I think his name is Jason.
Jason. Yeah, I encourage you to reach out to Jason and Will. I definitely think that they're good people that you can go to and will take a lot of stress off of Abel's plate as well. So that's something. But I think next we should work on an action plan for the upcoming week, and talk about ways we can potentially help if there is another triggering event.
Okay.
How does that sound? Okay, cool. So I will write down something. So as for immediately, I do think we should schedule out our next month in advance today. I do see you once weekly. So, can you tell me kind of what your schedule looks like, or what day of the week works best for you?
It doesn't really matter. I don't do a lot right now, so I've got some free time.
Fair enough. Well, today is Wednesday, correct?
Yeah.
Do you want to do every Wednesday for the next month?
That's fine.
Okay, cool. All right, and then I do think you should still continue doing the NA meetings daily. Thoughts on that?
Yeah, I'll keep going.
Excuse me. About that. All right. Okay, I do highly want to encourage you to do the IOP program because it is a requirement, but also because I think it is a huge benefit to your recovery. I can refer you to one that I do know, and I can do what's called a warm handoff, where I can talk to the person that would be enrolling you to give them information.
Okay.
So you don't have to do that load of work, but you would have to do on your own is call them and give them all the personal information to actually get enrolled. Does that sound like something you think you can do?
Yeah, that'd be helpful.
Okay. And then I do think as well, if another triggering event happens, you should call your support system person. So who would you like to call first out of Jason or Will?
Probably Will. Okay. Just because he's been there before.
Okay, and then you would go to Jason after that?
Like if Will doesn't answer?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess. Maybe.
Maybe?
Yeah.
Why maybe?
Because that's bothering two people. So,
is there a reason you keep saying the word bother?
yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's my stuff, so I should be able to take care of it. And if I'm having to like reach out to all these people, then that's not really me taking care of my stuff. So I will call Will.
You call Will?
And then I will think about calling Jason if Will doesn't answer. But
Well, I do feel fairly confident that Will is someone that you're gonna be able to lean on, considering you guys have very similar pasts, and that is something that he's committed to being as an NA sponsor.
Yeah.
So I do want you to feel some sort of relief, like being able to go to him.
Okay.
And then you do have Abel as well. He has been constant in the past, so
yes.
don't be afraid to go to him, but maybe not first. But okay, we scheduled our appointments for the next month out. I do think I want to check in with you tomorrow with a phone call to follow up about you calling the IOP program to enroll.
Okay.
And what do you think about calling your pastor after our session to talk to him about, you don't have to go into too much detail, but maybe about letting him know that in the future you may call him to let him know that you might be struggling with something.
You want me to call IOP and call the pastor in one day?
Is that too much?
Yeah, I feel like I can do one or the other right now. I don't know if I can do both of those things.
Okay, well, I definitely think the IOP program is higher on the priority list because it is mandated by probation. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, and then maybe I can I don't know, talk to the pastor at church this weekend or something.
Okay.
I don't really want to call him to be like, I might call you later.
Yeah,
So
I understand that.
I can talk to him after church service on Sunday, but I will call IOP. If you do the one handoff, then I'll call.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and give you the information as we're heading out to walk out. And then I'll call them to let them know that you will give them a call, and they will let me know if you didn't call.
Okay.
So, but I'll call you tomorrow as well. But anything else that you want to air out while we're still here? I think we still got like 5 minutes.
Do you have any other things that I can do? Like, I don't know. The breathing is hard to like remember to do, and so
I do have something that you might like. It's called progressive muscle relaxation. We can actually try it if you want to place your feet on the ground. Yeet. All right. So progressive muscle relaxation, or PMR, because honestly, who wants to say all those words, is the idea that you're going to clench your muscles really tight and you're going to hold it for a certain amount of time. And then when you release, you're kind of like releasing that stress that you're holding in your body. Because for me specifically, I hold my stress a lot in my shoulders. So that's why I usually like stand like this. Is there somewhere specific you hold your stress in?
Probably also my shoulders. I have bad posture, so.
Me too. I'm like the Hunchback of Notre Dame. But, you know, it'd be like that. But, so normally I like to start with my feet planted on the ground.
Okay.
And then you can start small with your toes or with your feet. But, you know, like when you flex a muscle?
Yeah.
If you're flexing in the mirror. So you can do something like flexing your toes. It's hard to do in your shoes, but you can like squeeze your toes and your feet as hard as you can for maybe like 10 seconds. And I'm doing it with you. So
Okay.
Squeeze for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then relax.
Okay.
Do you feel it? Kind of like
A little bit.
a little bit better? All right, and then we'll go, and when you're sitting down, you can extend your feet and then squeeze all of your legs.
Okay.
And we'll go for 10 seconds. 1, 2, 3. Oh, my leg is We're at 34 minutes. Should we just stop it? Ow! My leg cramped! I'm keeping that in the video.